We can live a long, long time in an atmosphere of meditation and still keep our feet on the ground. Let us enter that atmosphere now, not as escape, but as a clearing in which no one is being judged, not even by oneself. Be still and know that I am God here. Let the breath soften, the shoulders drop, the heart unclench. You are not being measured by success or failure, by cleverness or fault. You are recognized as a person without qualities, and so is your neighbor. In such an atmosphere, fear loosens its grip and thought can rest. We are not going anywhere. We are becoming present where we are. Why should we keep our feet on the ground? Because the Word must become flesh. The Word must become flesh in texts and kitchens and conference calls. If the government of God does not appear at the sink when the dish breaks, at the phone when the accusation comes, at the keyboard when the message arrives, then it remains a lovely theory. We are not interested in theory, but in the presence showing itself as practical composure in ordinary conflict. Neither good nor evil inheres in the email, the tone of voice, the raised eyebrow. Value lies not in form, but in the invisible love that animates life, and therefore it can appear where we stand. Now here is our core question for this hour. What silently fuels my reactivity, and how do I end it in real time? Not tomorrow, not after a retreat, but in the very moment a sharp word cuts across the room. What is this hidden pact within that leaps to defend a mask and calls it me? Scriptures speak to this. I can of mine own self do nothing. The Father within me, he doeth the works. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. Take no thought. Do you see? Reactivity is the taking of thought, the belief that my persona must be protected by wit, by speed, by force. In this gathering, we will not leave you with aspiration. We will give you a way. A brief protocol, stop, turn, listen, 30 seconds, perhaps less, by which the silent agreement to defend the persona is revoked and the present speaks the next word. And we will prove it not by argument, but by demonstration. Before we reply to a message, before we step into a difficult call, we will pause and let the presence that goes before you make the crooked places straight. Then we will answer, and you will clearly see the difference. The difference is composure. The difference is peace. The difference is that the Word becomes flesh. Now let us come nearer to the spring of the disturbance itself. There is, beneath the noise of words and the heat of the cheek, a quiet pact. It is not signed with pen and ink. It is consented to in a flash. It is the mind's hidden agreement to defend the mask, to guard the persona instantly and at any cost. The moment a tone, a look, a sentence grazes the mask, that agreement leaps up and says, I must explain, I must justify, I must answer now. And so urgency appears like a savior, and retaliation dresses itself in the uniform of safety. But the agreement is the agitator, the trigger is only the occasion. What is this mask we feel compelled to defend? Persona mask is the name we give to our collection of borrowed qualities, the costume we think we are. Praise hangs on it, blame sticks to it, and so we spend our strength laundering and mending it. That hidden pact instructs the mind to maintain image at once. Hurry the email, raise the voice, rehearse the injury, marshal a case, and hurry has a theology. It swears the universe is off its hinges unless I push it straight. But hear the master, I can of mine own self do nothing. In that single line is the rescission clause. It voids the pact. When the self that must defend admits it can do nothing, the mask loses its counsel. Do you see the paradox? The text, the tone, the look, neither good nor evil. This word is not good. That tone is not evil. This glance is not powerful. The good is invisible. The evil has no law. The thing itself is empty of value. All value we assign from the pact we keep. We agree to be attacked, and then we agree to attack in return. But if there is no agreement, there is no energy in the arrow. Be still and know that I am God. Stillness is the refusal to lend the appearance and nature it does not possess. How, then, does the agreement work in the moment? It whispers, you are unsafe unless you answer. It insists, you will be diminished unless you correct. It flatters, you will be righteous if you strike. But the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. The presence that goes before you is not in the hurry, not in the heat, not in the recital of wrongs. The presence is before the email, before the meeting, before the glare on the road, making crooked places straight before a word is spoken. To revoke consent is not passivity, it is fidelity to source. It is to say within, I take no thought for defense. Father, thou speak. And when that is said, not with lips only, but with yield, the pact collapses, and the next word is not manufactured, it is given. So it is that reactivity runs on a consent we can revoke, and peace begins where that consent ends. Let us look straight at the face we rush to defend and name it rightly. Persona means mask. It is the painted role, the stitched costume of acquired traits, the biography we wear as if it were being. It has virtues and vices, talents and lacks. It is praised and it is blamed, and all of it belongs to the theater. Identity is another order. Identity is the Christ within the life that says, I and the Father are one, all that the Father hath is mine. This is a person without qualities, not because there is vacancy, but because the fullness of God does not parcel itself into adjectives. The hidden agreement conscripts us to guard the mask, but no pact is required to be what God is being in us. It is no longer I that live, says the apostle, but Christ liveth in me. That is identity. Consider the actor on the stage, Barrymore, as Hamlet, if you like. If the critic applauds or jeers, it touches the part, not the man at supper after the play. Yet we forget the dressing room, and we take the review into our bones. We hear, you are brilliant, and drink it as self. We hear, you are careless, and rush to war. But the Christ of you does not answer to it. Why callest thou me good, said the Master. None is good, save one, that is God. Do you hear the release in that? Praise is returned to its source. Blame finds no address. When praise and blame are withdrawn, the hooks of reaction have nothing to seize. The trigger cannot fasten because there is no surface to catch. And so we practice not denial, but beholding. Silently within, in the very moment you feel the old heat rise, let this be said, God constitutes my being. God constitutes their being. This is a person without qualities before me. This is a person without qualities where I stand. Do not attempt to beautify the scene or whitewash the words. We are not pretending the sound did not crack across the room. We are ceasing to make it a verdict about identity. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment does not sanctify the mask. It refuses to worship it. It knows that the living one behind every face is uninjured and unarmed. Try it gently in commonplaces, the family table, the line at the store, the letter on the screen. Before you interpret the raised brow as contempt or the slow answer as disrespect, step back a hair's breadth within and behold Christ as the identity there. Not Christ as a pious label, but as the only life present. Feel what changes in the body. Often the breath returns of itself. The nervous system was bracing to defend an image. Now the image is not in danger because it is not the self. Be ye transformed by the renewing of your mind. The renewing is this. You are not the qualities, you are the life that is before qualities. Someone will ask, Does this ignore injustice? No, it removes the lie that your dignity rises or falls on another's judgment. And it removes the lie that the other is forever bound to this hour's conduct. You will address behavior as wisdom directs, but you will not enthrone it as identity. And strangely, because you have not condemned, the other is less compelled to perform the part. Neither do I condemn thee opens a gate that commands cannot open. The moment the mask is not ultimate, the temperature drops. The trigger is disarmed before any technique is used, and sometimes, often, you will find no technique is needed, for the presence goes before and makes the crooked place straight. So it is that identity, rightly seen, ends the quarrel at its root. Now watch how the scene changes when value is withdrawn from appearance. The angry text, the curt email, the slammed door, neither good nor evil. This is a hard saying to the mind that lives by grading forms, but it is a soft pillow to the heart that would rest in God. Why callest thou me good? The Master asked. None is good save one, that is, God. If none is good save God, then the goodness you seek is not housed in syllables or in eyebrows or in hardware. Good is invisible to human sense. It is the life, the love, the order behind the forms. And so it is that when you remove value from form, you remove fear of losing it and the terror of being struck by it. Here is the practice in its simplest terms. Before you read it as attack, read it as ink and pixels. Pause and see what is literally there. Black shapes on a screen. A pattern of light. It is not a verdict about you. Before you take a tone as contempt, take it as sound air moved across vocal cords, waves meeting an eardrum. Before you call the slam hostility, call it wood, metal, hinge, momentum. This is not to deny meaning, it is to deny ultimacy to the form of the moment. Meaning, if there is to be any, will come from the invisible source, not from the costume. Do not place your treasure in the word. Place your treasure in the love that may use any word to bless. Do not fear the face. Attend to the presence that can shine through any face. Try a small sequence. The phone buzzes, the stomach tightens. Before the old pact takes the reins, say inwardly, this is neither good nor evil. This is a message pixels only. Father, thou alone art good. In that instant you have relocated value. You have refused to worship the form as Savior or as devil. You have, without argument, revoked fear's premise that your well-being is inside that sentence. And then, because you have not leaned upon it for life, the sentence loses its fangs. It may carry information. It cannot carry your identity. Consider how often grief has ridden on appearances. A tone we thought meant distance, a silence we took as contempt, a punctuation mark we baptized as scorn. We sorrowed not because a wave struck an ear, but because we crowned the wave king. The moment we recollect that none is good, save one, that is, God, the crown is returned. The thing stands as a thing, useful perhaps, instructive perhaps, but not sovereign. And so peace returns, not because forms are sweetened, but because authority has been reassigned to the invisible. This is righteous judgment. To look at the text, the tone, the look, and with calm eyes say, neither good nor evil. The good I rest in is God, the presence that goes before me. From there, if a word is to be spoken, it will not be born of fear of loss or hope of gain, but of the life that cannot be threatened by a screen or a sound. And you will find quietly, simply, that when form is no longer your God, form loses its power to frighten or to flatter. Now, because we must have a way and not merely a wish, let us be very simple. Your trigger has an agreement. Break it in 30 seconds. Stop. Turn within. Listen. This is not theory. This is how the word becomes flesh at the keyboard, at the doorway, at the steering wheel. Stop means break motion. Set the device down. Unclasp the fingers. Release the story mid-sentence. If you are already typing a defense, take your hands off the keys as an act of worship. If you are already framing a clever reply with the lips, close them softly and let the jaw loosen. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, the Master said, for it shall be given you in that same hour. Stop is how you make room for the gift. Turn means consent. It is not a mental trick. It is fidelity to source. Say it within, not as a formula but as surrender. I, my own self, can do nothing. Father, speak thy word. Or if you like the prophet's phrase, speak, Lord, for thy servant heareth. In this turn you revoke the quiet pact to defend the mask. You do not bargain. You do not promise to be better tomorrow. You yield the right to craft your safety by speed. And as you turn, feel the body join you. Let the belly be soft. Let the breath unhurry itself. You will notice that hurry is a theology when it leaves a different God governs the moment. Listen means 30 seconds of living silence. Be still and know that I am God. No rehearsing, no bargaining, no analysis. Do not run the tape of what you will say. Do not audition the other person in your head. Do not polish a sentence. Let the attention drop from the problem to the presence. If there is a verse that steadies you, let it ring once and then be quiet. If there is nothing but breath, let it be breath. The presence that goes before you needs no coaching. It only asks room to come through. 30 seconds is abundance when you are not manufacturing outcomes. In those seconds, the heat drains from the boundary and the hook falls from the word. What are the signs that guidance is at hand? Often it is very ordinary. A gentler word arises that you did not compose. A boundary presents itself without heat or edge, or a clear not now stands in the doorway, and you find you can honor it without fear. Sometimes the guidance is to say nothing and to let the presence finish the work before speech. Sometimes it is to answer plainly, even firmly, but without the tremor of self-defense. The wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God, but the word given in stillness carries its own authority. You will know it by its weightlessness and by the peace that accompanies it. So when the phone buzzes and the stomach tightens, remember the single rope you can always hold. Your trigger has an agreement. Break it in 30 seconds. Stop, turn within, listen. In that small fidelity, the consent is withdrawn, and the next word is not made, it arrives. And the moment it arrives, outcomes change because the source has changed. Now when you have stopped, turned, and listened, what then? Do not hurry to sculpt the reply. Do not try to improve on what peace has whispered. Let the next word come. The word must become flesh, not as a performance, but as tone, as timing, as content that carries no burden of self-protection. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, said the Master, for it shall be given you in that same hour. It is given, not made. It arrives not as a crafted victory, but as a simple, clean movement of life. Very often it is plain and unadorned. Let's speak at 4 when we can be respectful. Or, I hear you, I'll respond tomorrow. Sometimes nothing at all, silence that is not withholding, but stewardship, not now. Sometimes a boundary walks in without heat. I will not continue this conversation in this tone. I'm available later. Sometimes a yes is gentle and exact. Yes, I can do that. And here is what I need to do it well. Sometimes a no is free of apology. No, I'm not able to take that on. These are not strategies, they are fruit. The wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. And so the word that arrives does not carry wrath, it carries rest. You will notice something delicate but sure. Because you did not manufacture, you are not attached to an outcome. You are consenting to an order that is already present. And as you consent, the presence that goes before you makes the crooked places straight. Relationships soften without push. The tension that seemed lodged in the other person loosens, not because you argued well, but because the air is different. An apology appears without your demand. A reschedule opens like a small, quiet gate. Or perhaps outwardly nothing changes, but inwardly the tangles fall from your heart, and what once hooked you cannot find purchase. Good is invisible. Do not look for it as your triumph. Look for it as harmony, as clarity, as clean boundaries that leave no bruise. This is how the word becomes flesh, not as a dazzling sentence, but as the rightness of when and how. The same phrase can wound at noon and heal at 4. The same boundary can be a wall in heat and a door in peace. Let timing be guided. Let tone be guided. Let content be guided. I can of mine own self do nothing in that confession. Strength appears, and it is not yours. Why callest thou me good? None is good save one, that is God. Therefore, do not congratulate the mask for speaking well. Return the good to its source, and you will remain free to be guided again in 5 minutes and again tomorrow. We are not crafting outcomes. We are consenting to an already present order. Try it and watch the texture of your hours change. You set the phone down, you wait, you answer simply, or you do not answer yet, and because the source has changed, the scene has changed. Not by force, not by wit, but by the quiet government of the invisible becoming audible in you, and then visible as you. The word arrives, you let it stand. And peace, like a soft authority, stands with it. Let us prove it now, not in theory, but here, where your life is being lived. Set the scene plainly. A message flashes on the screen from a colleague or from your own blood. You misrepresented me in the meeting. Explain yourself now. Or, you always do this. Why can't you ever think of anyone else? You feel the heat rise. The body moves to type. The old pact, quick as a spark, whispers, answer at once or you will be diminished. Now watch with me as we do the opposite. Place the phone face down. We are not hiding from life. We are allowing life to be governed. 5 minutes. Shared silence. Stop. Turn within. Listen. And again. And again. First, stop. Break motion as a sacrament. Hands open. Jaw released. Shoulders dropping their arguments. The story rushes to convene its courtroom. Decline the summons. You are not the attorney for the mask this hour. Be still and know that I am God. Let the words be literal. Still the hand. Still the tongue. Still the mind enough to notice that thought wishes to make a case. Take no thought, said the master. Take no thought, especially no thought for defense. In this first minute, the air itself changes. Hurry had a theology, and you have quietly resigned from its church. Now turn. Consent is the hinge. Say it inwardly, not as magic, but as surrender. I, my own self, can do nothing. Father, speak thy word. Or if it rises more simply, Father, thou art here. This is the revocation of the hidden pact. The persona is not being protected. Identity is being recognized. Let the breath spread in the belly. Let the heart feel the weight slip from it. You are not responsible for manufacturing harmony. You are responsible for fidelity to source. I and the Father are one. Not two gods, not two wills, not two natures arguing inside you. One life appearing as you, governing this very moment. Now, listen. Do not audition sentences. Do not imagine the other's reply and then rehearse your victory over it. Do not count the injustices and arrange them like trophies on a shelf. Listen for the presence that goes before you to make the crooked places straight. 30 seconds and then another 30. The phone is not your God. The message is neither good nor evil. It is pixels. Withdraw value from form. Return value to the invisible. None is good save one, that is God. Say it softly within. Good is not in a sentence, not in a frown, not in a timestamp. Good is God, and God is here. We are in the second minute, and something subtler is asked. Release qualities. Behold a person without labels. That colleague with a clipped tone, not ambitious, not petty, not righteous, not wrong. A person without qualities, the same living Christ that constitutes your being. That family member with the familiar accusation, not always, not never, not too much, not too little. A person without qualities. Do not pretend they did not speak. Do not paint the slam a pastel. Simply refuse to crown it king. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. The righteous judgment is identity. Third minute, again we stop, we turn, we listen, like the ocean's rhythm. In the stopping, the nervous system unclenches. In the turning, the mask loses its attorney. In the listening, a new government is felt. You will notice, if you attend closely, that the body testifies, the breath lengthens of itself, the jaw has forgotten its speech, the eyes soften. These are small sacraments. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee, not stayed on the thread, on thee. Fourth minute, and the shape begins to take form without your sculpting. Perhaps it is silence, alive and not withholding, not now. Perhaps it is a line, quiet and clean, already whole when it arrives, as if you had found it set on your inner table. I see your message. I'll respond after 4 when I can bring my full attention. Or, I hear you. I need to review the notes. I'll write in the morning. Or, I will not continue in this tone, but I am available to talk later today. You did not invent these, they came. Or perhaps nothing comes, and that too is governance. It shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. If the hour is not yet, do not wrench a word from it. 5th minute, and the difference is plain, though outwardly nothing has moved but breath. The state has changed. The consent has been withdrawn from reactivity and given to presence. Now turn the phone, and before the thumbs move, feel for the pressure. Is there haste? Is there a tremor? If so, turn again. If peace is present, proceed from it. Type the simple sentence that arrived, or do not type at all, and let the presence complete its going before you. The word must become flesh. Let it take a body in your timing, your tone, your restraint. Now, for the sake of understanding, contrast this with what the old pact would have driven. Imagine the instant reply. That's not what happened, and you know it. Or, I'm tired of you always accusing me. You press send, and what do you purchase? Another paragraph returns, sharper, faster. Screenshots fly, alliances form, the meeting grows crowded with ghosts, sleep shortens, appetite sours, the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God. You might be clever, you might be right, but rightness without presence carries no rest and it breeds no fruit. Return to the path we have just walked. You place the phone face down. You stop, you turn, you listen. You release qualities. You behold Christ as identity, theirs and yours. You rest in I and the Father are one. A word is given or a silence is given. You answer in 2 lines, without heat, or you wait, and at 4, you speak as you had consented to. What happens? Often the always becomes, okay, let's talk later. Often the clip tone unwinds into, thanks for the pause. Sometimes the other remains hot for a while, but the hook cannot catch because you have no surface left for it. And then the air, have you noticed? The air itself is different. The room in which the conversation occurs has been furnished by peace. This is our proof, for we are not interested in a philosophy that does not live. The pause proves the principle. State changes outcome. Because you did not manufacture, you are not attached. Because you did not defend the mask did not have to win. Because you consented to the presence that goes before, the crooked places were already being made straight before your word took breath. Good is invisible. Do not seek it in their apology or your triumph. Seek it in the harmony that appears, in the clarity that asks for what is needed without bruise, in the boundary that holds without a wall. Carry this 5-minute sacrament with you. You will not always need the full span. Sometimes 30 seconds will open the gate. But know you have a way. The phone can be face down and your face can be upturned. The text can be on the table and your heart can be in God. And then when you lift it and when you type, the word that becomes flesh will be His, and it will carry its own quiet authority. So it is. Now let us ask quietly, what moved in that scene? We did not discover a superior sentence. We did not outwit a mood. We changed governments. The old pact that rushes to defend the mask was set aside, and another presence took the chair. The air changed because the consent changed. The same device, the same thread, the same human facts, yet a different root feeding the moment. It is the spirit that quickeneth, the flesh profiteth nothing. When spirit governed, the compulsion to perform was released, and with it the requirement that the other must change at once for us to be whole. The mechanics are simple and holy. First, agreement revoked. We said within, I, my own self, can do nothing. Father, thou speak. That voided the quiet contract to defend the persona. Then person beheld. We lifted the labels from them and from ourselves and saw a person without qualities, Christ as identity here and there. Then guidance received. Take no thought, for it shall be given you in that same hour what ye shall speak. A word or a silence arrived already clean. Finally, tone transformed, not because we polished it, but because fear had no supply line. The same sentence at 4 did not carry the bruise of noon, and so it did not provoke the bruise in them. What showed outside? Very ordinary graces. The instant demand softened into, let's talk later. The always became aspecific, and specifics are workable. A concession appeared, I overstated it, that an argument could never have wrestled free. Or a delay was honored without drama, and when the call came, the temperature had fallen of itself. Sometimes, as I have said, nothing in them changed at once. But the hook could not catch because you had no surface left for it. Neither the text, nor the tone, nor the look was good or evil to you. Value had been returned to the invisible. Do not ascribe this to temperament. It is not for the naturally calm more than for the naturally fiery. It is for the one who turns. The law is constant because the source is constant. Be still and know that I am God. Any who are willing to be still may know, and any who know may speak from that knowing. The fruitage repeats, not by mimicry of phrasing, but by fidelity to the well. So let it be clear. The difference is not better wording, it is a different source. The presence that goes before made the crooked places straight before your thumbs moved. We simply refuse to leave home. And when home is kept, the house of the hour furnishes itself with quiet bread for all. Now we take this into the wild, where your life actually walks, at the sink, at the desk, at the checkout. Do not wait for the grand crisis. It is the micro triggers that train or untrain the heart. The spouse's sigh at the end of the day, the cashier's mistake when you are already late, the boss's deadline sliding across your morning. Practice the 30-second turn in place. Without announcement, without drama, the phone buzzes, the chest tightens. Stop, turn within. Father within, reveal the next word or step, listen, then move as that listening moves you. Small, frequent turns accumulate into durable composure as surely as drops fill a cup. At home, let it begin with the sigh at the doorway or the plate set down a shade too firm. The old pact reads the sound as story. Rejection, criticism, neglect, revoke the pact, inwardly and softly. This is neither good nor evil. Air moved, porcelain met wood. All that the Father hath is mine, therefore my peace is not in a tone. Behold a person without qualities, not tired, not cold, not always like this. A person Christ as identity here. Christ as identity where you stand. From that seeing, a word arrives. Long day, or no word at all, only a hand extended to take the bag, a kiss given without bookkeeping. Watch what happens when the other is released from being a quality. The shoulders lift a fraction, the room unknots. You did not fix a marriage, you withdrew judgment, and life breathed. At work, when the message comes, need this by noon, and noon is already full. Stop, hands off the keys. I, my own self, can do nothing. Father within, reveal the next word or step. Do not craft a case, receive a step. Sometimes it is a clean boundary, weightless. I can deliver X by noon, Y by 3. Sometimes it is a clarifying question that diffuses heat, which is essential for the noon deck. Sometimes it is courage to say no without tremor. All that the Father hath is mine, time enough to do what is mine to do, wisdom enough to see it, love enough to speak it without bruise. And you will see often that because you did not defend the mask, you are not bound to heroic promises. You are bound to truth, and truth carries its own favor. At the store, the line slows, the register beeps red, a coupon won't scan. Before the script about incompetence plays, say within, this is neither good nor evil. Behold the cashier as a person without qualities, not inept, not rude, not saint. A person. Judge not according to the appearance, but judge righteous judgment. Righteous judgment returns value to the invisible. A word may rise, no rush. Take your time, and you will see the miracle that looks like nothing. The spine straightens, the hand steady. When no one is being judged in your presence, even the machines seem to remember how to work. And if the man ahead is loud, you can be still without becoming his critic. The presence that goes before you makes a way through a crowded aisle too. This is how endurance is formed, not by white-knuckle patience, but by staying the mind again and again on the source. Thou wilt keep him in perfect peace, whose mind is stayed on thee. 30 seconds, a dozen times a day, and the nervous rush discovers it has no altar left in you. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. All your ways, domestic, professional, ordinary. The prayer can be one sentence on your tongue's root. Father within, reveal the next word or step. The affirmations anchor perception. This is neither good nor evil. All that the Father hath is mine. From these, speech and silence come clean, and the day is quietly delivered from the tyranny of appearances. Try it as you close this hour and as you open the next. Drops into a cup, the cup fills, peace becomes the habit of the heart. Some will say, there isn't time. Beloved, there is always time for God. 30 seconds now prevents 30 hours of repair later. Think of the emails that cascaded because you answered hot. Think of the night stolen because you could not unhook a sentence you sent in haste. He that believeth shall not make haste. The turn within does not slow life. It removes panic from movement so that movement becomes clean. Triage it this way. If it is an annoyance, pause always. If it is an emergency, act while turned within. A child slips, a pan flames, a tire blows, do not hold a seminar, move, and move as one turned. Be still, and know that I am God. Does not forbid the hand to reach. It forbids the heart to fear. While you dial, say within, Father, thou art here. While you steer to the shoulder, Father within, reveal the next step. Angels, the presence that goes before, meet you on the road that is already in your feet. Another objection rises. But what of injustice? What of abuse? Non-judgment is not non-boundary. To release a man from being evil is not to invite him to strike again. Let your yea be yea, and your nay, nay, is Scripture. Presence may give you a firm no that is pure as winter air. Presence may say, call now, gather witnesses, walk out, lock the door. The Master did not argue with Nazareth. He passed through the midst of them. He counseled, when they persecute you in this city, flee ye into another. Fleeing is not fear when it rises from fidelity. It is stewardship of the temple. Do not confuse neither good nor evil with moral fog. It is the rescinding of value from form, not the surrender of wisdom. The wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of God, and so we refuse wrath. But righteousness may clothe itself as an officer called, a report filed, a boundary kept. Then there is the quieter fear. If I do not defend myself, I will be walked on. Who is the self you imagine must be defended? The persona, yes. But you are a person without qualities. Christ as identity. All that the Father hath is mine. True identity commands respect without force. Boundaries that arrive from presence are not cruel. They are clear. Be wise as serpents and harmless as doves. You'll hear a sentence that neither begs nor bruises. I won't be spoken to in that way. We'll continue later. Or, I'm unavailable for this demand. Here is what I can offer. No thunder, no tremor, and strangely, because you did not clutch for dignity, dignity appears. Even when the other is not pleased, the hook cannot catch. There is no burr of self-defense to snag. So practice triage, annoyances, traffic, tones, delays. Always pause, stop, turn, listen. Emergencies, bleeding, fire, imminent harm, act as you turn. A flash of consent, and then the step. In both, the same law holds. Take no thought how or what ye shall speak, for it shall be given you in that same hour. Perfect love casts out fear. It also casts out gullibility. Turning within strengthens wise action, not passivity. It gives you the word, the exit, the boundary, the break, each in its time. And because the source has changed, the outcome quietly changes too. So it is. Now let us widen the circle. What you have practiced alone becomes an atmosphere when two or three agree to it. Where two or three are gathered in my name, there am I in the midst of them. Not merely gathered in a room, but gathered in a consent. No one here is being judged. No one here is being praised. We behold persons without qualities. A household can do this. A team can do this. The grocery line can, strangely, do this when one or two hold it steady. We are not making a rule book. We are agreeing upon an air we will breathe together. Begin simply, honor the pause together. In this home, in this office, we practice a 30-second stop before the hot reply. If needed, we say aloud, I'll answer in a moment, and all honor it. We retire the labels. After conflict, we make no character verdicts, no you always, no you never, no halos and no horns. We speak slowly. A soft answer turneth away wrath, not as decorum, but as faith, that the presence can be heard in a soft voice. We behold Christ in the other. That means we look beyond the tone and the posture and say within, this is a person without qualities, and so am I. The sentence that follows will come different from that seeing. Set a few small practices in place. Begin meetings with 60 seconds of shared stillness. Then let first sentences be brief. In a family, agree that the word always is set aside. And instead we ask, what is the next right step? When heat has visited, close the day by releasing one another explicitly. I withdraw my verdicts. I behold you as Christ. Children understand this better than we do, so do animals. Watch the fruitage. The room feels larger. The meeting that used to begin with elbows now begins with shoulders dropped. Tempers shorten their own half-life. They appear and then they forget their reason to stay. The dog that paced in the kitchen lies down and breathes the room's peace. Even provision appears. Calls come back. Schedules open. The right help arrives because the presence that goes before you is not confined to your chest. It moves through the field you share. Shared non-judgment multiplies individual practice. Your pause makes my pause easier. My refusal to label takes pressure off your identity so that your true word can find you. By this shall all men know that ye are my disciples, if ye have love one to another. Love is not sentiment. It is the release from being good or evil and the consent to be governed by one. Let us make it practical. Bring your written questions. Place them where we can read them in quiet. Ask how this shows up with your child, your manager, your neighbor. We will not solve these alone. Exhort one another daily, the apostle said. We unfold in fellowship, not in isolation. And in such a fellowship, the ordinary proves the invisible. Let us agree to the air, and you will see the word becomes flesh, not only in you, but among you. So it is. Let us seal this, not with sentiment, but with a simple covenant, because consistent experiment makes the invisible good visible. For 7 days, 3 times each day, we will practice the 30-second turn. Morning before the first sending, midday when the current is fast, evening before the last word. Stop, turn within, listen. This is not a vow to be perfect. It is a consent to be governed. Prove me now herewith, saith the Lord, and we will. We will prove by practice that peace is not fragile, that guidance is not rare, that the presence is nearer than the message that tries to hurry us. Keep a small record. Each pause, jot 4 lines. Context, what seemed to demand you. Pause, how you stopped and turned. Guidance, what was given. Word or silence. Fruitage, what appeared outwardly or inwardly after. It may be a softened tone, a clean no, an open time, a body unhooked. Do not embroider. Note it plain. By the end of 7 days, you will have a harvest on paper that no argument can take. Beside that, keep a 2-column page on the left. When I reacted, list 1 or 2 scenes you answered in the old pact, what you wrote, how your night went, what it cost. On the right, when I turned within, list the scenes you consented to be guided, what arrived, what it spared, what it mended. Do not judge yourself. Behold a person without qualities even on the page. You are not scoring. You are seeing. Taste and see that the Lord is good, and the tasting will be in contrasts made visible. Let us seal it with a litany you can carry on your breath at the thresholds of the day. Morning, I, my own self, can do nothing. The Father within doeth the works. Midday, Thy presence goes before me and makes the crooked places straight. Hour of speech. I take no thought how or what I shall speak. It is given me in that same hour. Evening. The word must become flesh. Let my tone, my timing, my silence be thy word made plain. If any phrase is forgotten, keep one. Farther within, reveal the next word or step. And now, gratitude. Return all praise to its source. When fruitage appears, say within with the Master, why callest thou me good? None is good save one, that is God. Thank you for the pause you gave. Thank you for the sentence you spoke. Thank you for the courage to say no, the mercy to wait, the door that opened, the hook that could not catch. In all thy ways acknowledge him, and he shall direct thy paths. We acknowledge and we rest. Thank you.